position. Over the hill, Grahamstown, Baintown, from everywhere they're coming. They're the people's choice, the Saxon Superstars.
Hello? Who's in the morning?
Yeah, yo, Jordan, we're finishing.
We know you're watching. We can feel you. We know that you are afraid. Afraid of us. You're afraid of change. You're afraid of what happens when the Bahamian people find out that you've lied to them. I'm going to hang up this phone, and we are going to tell them everything. We are going to tell them who they are and what you took from them. Change is not coming. Change is here.
Guard engages in a uniform pattern and practice to recruit, lure, and entice children and women, knowing, or in reckless disregard of the fact, that means of force, fraud, and coercion, or that the child had not yet attained the age of 18 years, to cause the victims to engage in a commercial sex act. Methods employed by NIGARD to commit sex trafficking include, but are not limited to, the use of physical force, threatening physical force, drugging victims, promising lucrative modeling opportunities, providing money, confiscating his victims' passports, and preventing exit from the NIGARD key property. NIGARD has targeted and instructed his employees and associates to target children. NIGARD primarily preys on young, vulnerable, and impoverished Bahamian girls because he knows that they will not report his crimes to law enforcement, particularly in a climate where it is well known that NIGARD bribes government and police officials. Among other deviant acts, NIGARD often sodomizes his victims and asks them to defecate on him, including in his mouth. He also requests that his victims urinate on him and demands that victims on their menstrual periods provide him their menstrual blood for eating. Due to the extreme deviant nature of NIGARD's sexual conduct, his victims feel even more degraded, ashamed, and embarrassed than the typical sexual assault victim.
With lie after lie on social media, especially concerning Peter NIGARD. Let's talk about Peter NIGARD for a moment. He was a long-time resident of the Bahamas, who now stands accused of the most horrific crimes against women. I want to be clear, as a father of daughters, as a Bahamian, I am appalled by these extremely serious charges. Peter NIGARD contributed to both political parties, to many charitable causes here, and to regattas across the country. Those contributions do not in any way excuse his behavior, but nor are the many recipients of his contributions responsible for his behavior. In no time during my tenure as Deputy Prime Minister was there ever a criminal complaint made to the Bahamian police about the matters he is now charged with. Had there been, an investigation would have been launched immediately.
NIGARD was also close with Deputy Prime Minister Philip Brave Davis and regularly met with him and paid bribes to him and his political aides. Davis allegedly introduced NIGARD to known Bahamian gangsters and convicted criminals, Livingston Toogie Bullard and Whistler Bobo de Vilma. NIGARD paid Toogie and Bobo with funds from the NIGARD companies to intimidate anyone who spoke out against him or his initiatives by, among other means, directing them to firebomb his detractors' vehicles and/or businesses, instructing them to threaten to kill those who oppose him, and commit other acts of violence and intimidation. NIGARD used his political connections and bribes to successfully gain building permits and to receive other favorable treatment including, without limitation, overlooking his illegal activities. NIGARD had Bahamian police officers on his payroll. He used them to help bury any reports of sexual abuse and intimidate, threaten to arrest, and otherwise harass his victims to ensure that they would not come forward. NIGARD often alludes to the fact, in front of his girlfriends, that he is powerful enough in the Bahamas to have people killed without being investigated. Indeed, when NIGARD learned of the investigation of his illegal sex trafficking, he engaged lawyers to facilitate bribery payments to top Bahamian police officials to get more information that would enable him to attempt to bribe victims or intimidate them into silence. NIGARD also regularly bribes Bahamian officials with U.S. currency from the NIGARD companies to prevent customs from searching his plane, prevent customs from checking the passports of the young women on board, and to prevent customs from inspecting the passengers' luggage. This allows NIGARD to traffic his victims to and from the Bahamas, transport drugs intended for his victims, and transport other supplies for pamper parties in the NIGARD company's plane to avoid paying customs. NIGARD does the same with the NIGARD company's boats and regularly transports supplies and victims for his pamper parties from Florida to the Bahamas. NIGARD's victims have been previously unable to come forward to report his illegal activity and pursue their claims against him for several reasons including, without limitation, cultural stigmatization, shame, weak laws that are rarely enforced, low clearance rates for sexual assault investigations, corrupt law enforcement and government officials, fear of Nygaard's wealth, power, and influence in the Bahamas, and psychological manipulation and intimidation tactics used by Nygaard, including the commonly held belief that Nygaard has bribed government officials and the police. Side note, also keep in mind that in the document there is photo evidence and money transactions between Nygaard and other ministers like our former Prime Minister Perry Christie and former Cabinet Minister of Immigration, Shane Gibson.
And now, the end is near, and so I face the final curtain.
As I currently edit this video, it has been revealed that Nygaard has been denied bail and will be detained in Toronto as he awaits trial on charges of sexual assault and forcible confinement. I know this video is a bit darker than my regular content. I'm not a journalist or any of that fancy stuff, but I just wanted to put this information out into the universe because I came across it, and sexual assault is and has always been rampant in the Bahamas, in both wealthy circles and underclass circles. Most of the testimonies of the victims often get swept under the rug because our government doesn't really care about anything. Especially if the crime is being committed by one of their rich high-profile white foreign cronies. So yeah, that's about it. This video won't change anything, but it's good to bring awareness to these kind of social issues. Another thing I want everyone to notice is that international investigators had to look into this situation to detain Nygaard. Neither local law enforcers nor local politicians was protecting their people from this degenerate individual. So, Bahamian people understand that the black bourgeois isn't your ally. You have no allies. In conclusion, let me remind the Bahamian people that the judges, custom officers, politicians, law enforcers and many other corrupted officials are still out there. The gangsters that protected this pedophile is still out there. Those who were bribed by him is still out there. The victims of his heinous sexual acts is still out there. What does this mean for our nation? This means that the corruption and bribery still persists till this very day. The fact that many of you politically illiterate Bahamians went and voted in one of the suspects that colluded with this pedophile means that you have legitimized his crimes. You have turned the co-conspirator of a pedophile into our Prime Minister. You have turned a man whose integrity can be bought out by $1 into the political leader of your nation. You have turned a man that will sell your children to wicked men to be sexually assaulted into the figurehead of your political affairs. Many of you are just as immoral, selfish and degenerate as the man that you have voted in. This is why our nation cannot advance beyond its current state. There are too many older Bahamians that can and will never have the capability of leading the Bahamian youths. There are too many older Bahamian men that are weak, castrated by their lust for power and their meager desires. There are too many so-called leaders that will not speak out. We have become a spineless, cowardly people blinded by vanity and petty trinkets. We are no better than the African leaders that sold their people into slavery during the 1800s and continue to do so. Where are the strong Bahamian men? Where are our strong, uncompromising leaders? Where are our parochial leaders that are supposed to stand against these sinful men in the name of God and all which is righteous? Where's the Bahamian media that are supposed to inform the Bahamian people and bring awareness to these social issues? Where are the so-called human rights advocates from the so-called non-government organizations? Where are the white Bahamians that never stand up for the rights of black Bahamians but somehow always appear when it's time to stand up for environmental conservation and animal rights? Where are the gangsters that also have little daughters and sons? Don't you want to protect them? Surely you gangsters will kill your fellow black Bahamian in a heartbeat, but when whites come to our country and degrade your people and assault your children, you have nothing to say. When it comes to black corrupted leaders cutting the budget for social service and stealing your tax dollars, you all have nothing to say. Quiet as a mouse. Why not use those guns to protect your people? Why not use those guns to protect your families and neighborhoods instead of destroying it? You all are confused cowards. Then we wonder why Bahamian youth lack morals or standards. We wonder why they are so lost, violent and depressed. Why does the Bahamian youth have no value for human life? Because under this capitalistic system you have conditioned them to believe that only money and vanity matters, and nothing else. This is the toxic consumerist environment that you have created, and they are nothing but products of their environment. In this country we have a justice system that is compromised, political leaders that have compromised, and adults that are too weak to stand up and say something. You should all be ashamed of yourselves. You speak of change and how you desire it, but you will not even change your very own ways. You will not take a stand for what is right because you benefit from this corruption. Never mind a task as dire as defending your nation, you all wouldn't even stand up to defend your little children.
FTX users are now fleeing to the Bahamas in an act to try and save their crypto. Just take a look at this. FTX has turned on withdrawals, but only for users in the Bahamas who are already KYC'd, which is basically just Sam and his boys. And just take a look at this chart showing the Bahamian passport against the dollar. I mean, everybody with an FTX account is trying to get over there now. But it was also reported that digital markets assets were frozen by Bahamas regulators. But on Twitter, there's still a lot of people who are trying to find their way to the Bahamas, so I really think there is some way to get through this. Not sure if it's an actual legal way, but you can probably, find a way to get your money off FTX illegally. And the reality is this story is far from over. We're going to see bodies rise to the surface in the coming weeks. This is total chaos in the bear market, and this is probably the craziest thing that might have happened in crypto history. But guess what? Anybody using crypto right now, this is the time to double down. Double down on your conviction of the crypto space, because eventually the bull will come back. Enjoy the discourse.
Good afternoon and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We're going to spend some time tonight and we're going to talk about the Bahamas. We're going to talk about the real Bahamas. The Bahamas has been thrust into international shame again. I don't know how many times we have to go through the same thing for Bahamians to realize that our politicians are not doing us right. We're going to analyze exactly how they operate today. We are going to let the cat out of the bag. We're going to let you know exactly what is going on. Before we do that, of course, I want to welcome all of you for being here. Thank you all for tuning in. Good evening to all of you that have joined us. We have a couple people that we want to say, some special things to. And of course, we got some birthday greetings first. First, we want to say a special birthday greeting to Vanessa. And she is a very strong supporter of our movement. She's been assisting this movement, back and forth. We want to thank you. A special happy birthday to you, and God bless you. She's an amazing singer and a talented young lady. Vanessa, happy birthday to you. I just want you to know that we love you from the bottom of our heart. We also want to say a special happy birthday to Vaughn. Vaughn, I don't think we have his picture up there. Do we have his? Yes, we do. A special happy birthday to Vaughn. Leo Butler. We want to say a special happy birthday to you. God bless you and thank you for your support, your consummate support to this movement. Leo, thank you so very much. Yeah, we nickname him Vaughn too, but his name is Leo. All right, so thank you so very much. This is this is now the second week in November, and normally I don't like the first and second week in November because historically some very some very bad things have happened to me in those weeks, and sometimes I like to just skip through those weeks. It is a week when a lot of things have happened. Is on November 2nd is when I lost my father, Captain Henry Bain, who was very special to me. He was the love of my life, and he was a man who made me who I am. And also on November 2nd, I had a fire at my business. My business was destroyed, my shoe store, and I never forgot that day. I was attacked because I was fighting for some people. I was viciously attacked, and that is what I believe. And that happened also on November 2nd. Um, November 2nd was also the day that my singing group decided that we'll just stop singing. you know, we're gonna move on. We're old now, and that was the love of my life. That's what I love doing more than anything else in this world, and that was a serious blow for me. I also want to bring remembrance to a very special young man that many of you may know and you may remember, and and this young man was a pilot, a brave pilot. All of you know who he is. He's a very dear and good friend. His plane went down right off of Nassau. We all know the story. I don't have to go into it. The government failed. they failed on this one. They failed miserably. Private persons did more than the government as it relates to this. But we pray that this never happens again, and we just want everyone to know that we will never forget you. That you are a very talented and bright young man. Were part of the pilots union, and we will never, ever, ever forget you and what you meant to this country, Mr. Byron Ferguson. He is the son of Agnes Ferguson, who of Z&S fame. So God bless you. This was also a week when we lost another man who was very special to me, and that's me when he was signing a book for me. I talked about this signing in my book, and he gave me a prophecy at this moment when he was signing this book. He gave me a powerful prophecy. So we'll talk about it another time. But that's me when we were traveling with him. I think at this point we were in France. We might have been. I don't remember. I'll have to look at the picture. But we were somewhere around the world traveling. I believe that this was in France. This is Dr. Miles Monroe. We lost him on the 9th of November. Very special and powerful man to the world. We lost him, and we lost several other amazing Bahamians. We lost his wife and many others, 9 others. And so we just want to say rest in peace to all of you that we lost during this period. It's always a period of mourning for me, but I also rejoice because I know that these people were great people, and we are going to see all of them again. So also, before we get to it, dealing with this corrupt government that continuously embarrasses our country, we just want to remind you that we're having a cookout. We're having a cookout. Well, it's a Thanksgiving cookout, and of course, we have an organization, and we want to raise funds for this organization, which all political parties do. I see the FNM just had a boat cruise. All the money the FNM has been stealing from this country over the years. You would think that they didn't need to have boat cruises by now. I guess they are stealing and squandering. But the FNM is at a boat cruise. The PLP has fundraisers, and we have to have our fundraisers. So if you really support this movement, don't just support us with your mouth, support us in your actions. And so we're looking forward to all of you. This is going to be great. This is going to be amazing. The food is going to be good, and it's going to be $15 right here in Nassau. We're going to be at our Pinewood headquarters down in the south, and so you can come on down and you can get your food and stay and eat, and talk to me and others, or you can get your food and go. All right, so it's up to you. Also in Grand Bahama, they're also going to be having the exact same thing. But theirs is going to be just $10. We understand, the situation. If you're in Grand Bahama, you can call Miss Tanya Strawn. Go on Miss Tanya Strawn at the number posted. That's 441-5323, 441-5323. Someone says they bought their ticket already. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. And so you can contact them. You can contact our office number at 804-4264 if you want, or come down to our office at any time this week, and you can get your tickets, or come on the day and get your tickets, all right? And that's going to be on Thanksgiving Day. I think that's the 24th of November. And lastly, before we get into it, ladies and gentlemen, I would just like to say that we continue to assist those that we can in the community. Of course, we don't have the pocketbooks of the government that has a duty to assist our people. But of course, we do what we can, and we do as much as we can. We fight for the people as much as we can, and we assist many people. Everything we do does not make it. Everything we do does not make it to social media. There's a lot that we do that you don't hear about, but we work every single day to ensure that Bahamian people are assisted and aided when we can, and we do as much as we can. I personally get 60 to 70 calls every day of people in need of just simple things like food and money, just to survive every single day. That's the amount of calls I take just from people who need help. There's a lot of people suffering in this country, so we need change. We have to change the way our economy is set up, and we're going to talk about that today. We need serious change in this country. And before we go on, the last person I want to say happy birthday to is Rodrigue LaFrance, our supporter, Rodrigue LaFrance. Happy birthday to you, man. We hope you enjoy your day. Thank you so much for your support. We appreciate you. And of course, we love you. God bless you. Now, what I was talking about was, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be opening a sanctuary for single mothers. A sanctuary for single mothers. A hostel for when women are in trouble. We have been receiving so many calls from single mothers who did not have anywhere to go with their children. They had nowhere to go with their children. Some women had to be put in hotels. Some are in hotels right now. Some of them are in trouble. They're in abusive situation, and many stayed in abusive situations because they had nowhere to go. They didn't want to be on the streets with their children. Some of them managed to leave because they couldn't take the abuse anymore, and they stayed in cars. There's some women in this country right now who are going through. Their children are being abused, and they do nothing because they have nowhere to turn. They have no way out. And so children are suffering because of people being in that situation, and we have a government that can't help or they don't want to help. They're spending their money elsewhere. They're partying and having fun while we suffer as a people. And so I just want to say that we are going to help as much as we could, and we are opening sanctuaries for women where they don't have to sleep in their cars. They don't have to sleep in a parking lot somewhere. Can you imagine how scary that situation is for a child sleeping in a car all night, not knowing what's going to happen? Can you imagine the emotional trauma that puts on a mother who's in that situation, who feels like a failure, who feels terrified, who can't sleep because she's parked in a parking lot and her children are there in this crime-ridden country? And so we're going to do what we can, and we're going to house them, we're going to feed them, we're going to give them one meal a day, and we're going to house them free of charge. And so if you want to assist with this effort, please to contact us. Feel free to contact us. You can contact me at 803-5995. You can contact our chairman at 577-4158 if you want to contribute to this. Doesn't have to be money. It can be if you want to. It can be appliances, because we're going to set up a place where they can be comfortable. If you want to donate, if you have any sofas you want to donate, you have a TV that you want to donate, stove, microwave, any of the things that you know would normally be in a home, you can donate that. And we are setting up something for them right now as we speak that we want to have launched by this weekend. Of course, because of the nature of it, the location, we're gonna keep that private, but we are going to launch it nonetheless, and we're going to be accepting persons right away. This is urgent. And so if you want to assist, you can contact us after the live, just send a WhatsApp, etc., whatever you want to contribute. And so, like I said, that's it. So washer and dryer for them, stove, fridge, TV for them. Um, we have beds, we have bunk beds, but any furniture, living room type furniture that you want to contribute, please feel free to do so. Utensils, anything that you want to contribute. And that's what we have to do. We have to come together as a people to get this kind of stuff done. All right. And if you want to donate money, you have to do a lot of renovations, et cetera, et cetera. A lot of renovations. So painting, all that kind of stuff had to be done. The work has already started. It will be finished by this weekend. And we're going to get that started. And of course, we're going to have bills with it on a weekly basis, utility bills, etc., that we have to deal with for them. You know, my mother was a single mother, and I'm doing this in honor of her. In honor of her. She was Willamette Poitier, Miss P, and she took people in. The whole time that I was living, I never had, I never really had peace. It was always other, well, not a peace, a room to myself, I should say. um, it was always amazing. It was good. All the people who came, they were like family, and we loved them. And I remember one time, my mother, she worked at doctor's hospital, and there was another woman who had 5 children, and I think it was 5 children, and she had nowhere to go. And my mother took her into our house. We had no extra rooms, but I had to share my room with some of her children, and I think my sister shared with some of her children. My mother gave up her room and shared with my sister, I think it was, and gave the lady a room, a place to stay as long as she wanted. And this is the kind of lessons I learned. My mother was always a giving person, and she always fed people as much as she can, and of the little bit she had, she always gave. And that's why this is important to me. And so we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this. We're gonna make this happen. And so we're going to help as much as we can, and we're going to expand this as much as we can until we can get into government where no Bahamian will be in need again. We will get into government, and in the new Bahamas, not one Bahamian will sleep on the beach again unless they want to. Not one Bahamian will have to sleep in their cars again with their children. Not one Bahamian will have to beg for anything again in the New Bahamas. We will benefit from our natural resources, and we will transform this country. The begging days are over. But until then, we're going to do what we can to help out where we can. So if you want to be a part of this effort, please join us in doing so. All right. And so you can just give me a call or send a WhatsApp, because I'm on so much calls. Sometimes it's hard to get me. Just send a WhatsApp and I'll get back to it. Or you can call 557-4158, our chairman, and she will be able to do this. 577, sorry, 4158. And I'm going to reach out to our Women's Alliance and have them organize all of this. Make this an effort of our Women's Alliance, so that we can help other women. I'm going to have the COI Women's Alliance lead this. I know I sound out of it right now as I'm talking, because I hear the cries. I answer the phone calls and I hear the cries of these women. And it hurts when there's little you can do. There's only so much you can do. I can't help everybody. And you hear the cries of women, and there's so many in this situation that you wouldn't believe it. While our politicians party, this is what's happening. We're going to do what we can. This isn't about politics, y'all. This is about transforming this nation. So if you can, please assist us. And so we're getting ready to get things organized to head to the UN, because we still have some things we have to do there. We have some human rights complaints that we have to file there. And so that's still on the table. So we're going to be dealing with that. And so we're going to be doing that in short order. We had to wait until, it was better to wait until after the midterm elections to go and do what we had to do, because there are some other people we have to meet. We had to make sure that they were still in place after the midterm elections. All right. And so if you want to assist, if you're willing to assist, please, please, please. All right. And so we're going to do this. All right. So God bless all of you, and get in contact and see how you can pitch in. Every little bit counts. Every little bit counts. All right. So thank you for that. Now let's get down to business. I see all of you. I got to skip over, greeting all of you and where you're from, because I got to get right to it. We've already been in for half an hour. And so I got to get straight to it. All right. So thank all of you for being here. Make sure you share this, tag some of your people, tag some of your friends. Let's get out there. All right. Remember, this movement is more than about politics. This is not a political movement. This is an activist movement. We are Bahamians coming together to bring change in this country. That is who we are. And so that is what our interest in. Our interest is not in power. Our interest is not in money. Our interest is not in politics. Our interest is transforming this country for a better Bahamas. That is all we're interested in. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to get to it. Our country has been thrust into a situation of serious embarrassment again. This seems to be the cycle. I don't know how anyone expected any different. Um, But this is what the country constantly cycles through. We put in the F&M, they embarrass us. But most of their embarrassment is local embarrassment, like Dwayne Sands and the kind of embarrassment that he did, and a lot of other embarrassment. I won't go to list them right now. We know what Hubert Minnis and them did. But then we have the Progressive Liberal Party, who, when they embarrass us internationally. And this is what is most concerning for us as a people. And we keep cycling to the same embarrassment over and over, just saying we're going to give them another try, we're going to give them another try, we're going to give them another try. And the same thing keeps happening. And all it looks like is the Bahamian people are corrupt or we're insane, because we keep cycling the same thing over and over again, no matter what. I don't know how anyone could have expected anything different from Philip Brave Davis. I don't know. We know the cycle. We've seen it over and over. I don't know how we could have expected anything different. But, ladies and gentlemen, we are now at a serious and pivotal crossroads. All over the news media in America, they're saying the word Bahamas, Bahamas, Bahamas. Bahamas, Bahamas, Bahamas. And it's not in a good light. We have been seen as a backwater, corrupt country where if you have money to hide, if you want to hide, if you want to deal with corrupt politicians, you just go to the Bahamas and you can buy out our politicians and get anything you want. That is the reputation. And that is why I said when Philip Brave Davis went to the UN and made the statement that we are being blacklisted because we are a black nation, that is why I had a problem with that. And some people didn't understand. Because it's easy to use the race card when you want to get away with the foolishness that you've been doing. But us being blacklisted had nothing to do with us being a black nation. We were blacklisted because we are a slack nation. We are a corrupt nation. And we have the reputation for that. And just a couple weeks after Philip Brave Davis made the statement, now there's egg on all of our faces again. We are seeing it again. I will tell you this. Yes, I have an FTX account, which I've shown you. I've been showing you. I have an XTX account, but I will tell you that as soon as I saw FTX come to the Bahamas, I was out. I was out. That was it for me. Because if I see a company leave Hong Kong and come to the Bahamas, to me, they're running from something. The majority of companies that do that, they're running from something. I told you recently, a few weeks ago, about a company that was in Brazil, and it was American. They were Americans, but they were in Brazil, and they were growing coconuts, and they had a new form of coconut water, right, that was coming out. They were bottling coconut water in a nice little carton, and they were going to sell it to America. When they'd grown the trees and then they had done the process and bottled the coconuts, they were going to America. These were quite, pretty young men, little experience in business. They realized that they can't just bring the coconut water into America because there are processes, there must be inspections, there are certain things you have to go to. They have to go through a rigorous process. America wanted to know how you grow it. They had to witness it. They need to know who you are. They need to know about you. They needed to put you through the ringer. And so when that happened, they was like, oh, we're going to be stuck with all this coconut water and we're going to have to throw it away. We're going to lose all this money that we've invested because we can't just go into America without going through a certain process. And then someone there said, well, let's take it to the Bahamas. They don't have any rules there. They don't have any regulations. And you can get what you want there. This is on a documentary where I watched this, on a documentary. It's a Discovery Channel or National Geographic, one of those stations, I don't remember now. And they came to the Bahamas. They said this in a documentary. They came to the Bahamas and they sold it, they said, door to door. They sold their coconut water door to door because the Bahamas has no regulations. They literally brought their coconut water here are foreigners and against our laws. So we have laws that says only Bahamians can sell retail and wholesale. Remember, I showed you that. But they were able to come here and they sold door to door and sold all of their coconut water. And later they got the permission to sell in America and they were able to keep going. Eventually, I think they sold to Coca-Cola, the entire business. But they came here because we had a slack reputation. And this is the problem. The new Bahamas, there will be no corruption. There will be no politicians begging American companies for money to do any business. You will not have to see a politician. There will be a proper process. When you go to America to do business, to open a business, you don't have to see the president. You don't have to see the governor. There are departments in place to deal with whatever you need to deal with. And you don't have to pay off anyone. We are going to move to get rid of the corruption in this country. No more whatever slip goes. It keeps embarrassing us and it's like we don't learn. So we need change. So right now again, a young man came to this country. Like I said, when I saw this young man come here, I said, "Oh, I know why he coming here." And they started bragging about, "Oh, the Bahamas has this new regulation in place and it's groundbreaking, etc." No, they do not. They put a law in place. There's no regulations. They speedily snuck and put some a law in place to just allow it to happen legally, but there's no regulation that deals with it. There's nothing. We will get to that in some some nice short pants. And then when I saw him hanging out with first these same old names from the Progressive Party. When I saw him hanging out with Alison Maynard, of Bahama fame, conflict of interest, in our opinion, conflict of interest, and her daughter, having, things at Bahama, the case of Bahama, while she was negotiating and et cetera, et cetera. When I saw that she was their lawyer, that was it for me. I'm sorry, but when I have certain names like Jerome Fitzgerald, Alison Maynard, and certain names, that's it for me. So when I saw that she was their lawyer, remember their law firm was the law firm for Bahama when it came. Remember that? And we see what that turned into. But when I saw that, I said, you know what? That's it for me. And her daughter also had a cushy job. There's her daughter with some other gentleman from there. That's her daughter, Zoe Maynard. When I saw that, I was like, you know what? I love this platform. I love it. It's simple. It's nice. It's modern. But I am out. I'm finished with it. I'm finished. And I saw the prime minister, getting all cozy with the young man, and this is a, nice, meeting, and the gentleman was there in short pants and a blue shirt, and like, okay, yeah, okay, that's his culture. Um, but the prime minister was, there. That's our land. That's our beachfront. You're looking behind him, and you can see beach. Now that property is seized, along with other property, and all we constantly see, not that picture, all we constantly see is corruption. You know, this was the gentleman here. This was in the middle of COVID. The prime minister wearing his mask, but this young man is able to walk around with no mask when you're supposed to be wearing a mask. But he has money, so everyone else get locked up, not him. Um, but this is the corruption. So now this young man is all over the news, and we are there with him. We got to wake up. What seriously concerns me, and I'm going to break this thing down for you so you can understand it. I'm going to take your questions and call. All right? What seriously concerns me in all of this is that the rumors started going out, that something was going on. Then we saw everything happening. Everything started to happen. Our Securities Commission said that they seized all of the assets of this gentleman and his company in this country. They put out a notice saying that they had seized all of their assets. And then we heard that despite their assets being seized, this man's private jet, which is his asset, was allowed to leave the country and fly to Argentina. So if your jet is seized, how do you leave the country with that jet that should be seized because that's his asset? We know that the international community are all over this and they're going to want to know what is going on. How is it that that jet, which is his asset, was able to leave? That shows you that nothing was actually done. We are very skeptical of our authorities now. Our authorities said it was seized, but then we started to hear that the trading was still happening in the Bahamas. That trading was still going on. And the persons from all over the world were trying to come to the Bahamas, to see how they could get their money back. In fact, I put a post showing my FTX account. I was showing that FTX was offering money for you to deposit money into this Ponzi scheme. And I actually posted the picture of my screenshot of my account. I got calls. I got a call from someone in Asia saying that they wanted to buy my account or do something with me to help them get their money out. And they were offering big money. They said they had $1 million and they wanted they was going to give me half because they know they're going to lose everything if I'm willing to assist them with, well, first it was 15%, then it was 25%, then it went to half. If I would assist them in using my account to help them. And I said, listen, if you call me again, I'm going to notify the authorities. Do not contact me. I'm not interested. I am not getting involved. You're on your own. That is how serious this got. But despite the fact that this whole rumor was out there, obviously the SEC wasn't doing enough. Now the police put out a statement, and their statement is basically that, the SEC said, look at all these, properties, et cetera, that was taken, and a lot of these was, properties from Albany, and they got some from Sabas's company, et cetera. So some big money was made, in all of these transactions. Some big money, almost $75 million worth of property, $74 million worth of property, and that's now Bahamian property seized. $75 million worth. Embarrassment. Okay? And so the police have now put out a statement, and that statement is that the Financial Crimes Unit is working with the SEC to see if any crimes are committed. I wonder if this is going to be like the barefoot bandit who had the gun and was in the video shooting at the police and was breaking into people's home, and who landed an aircraft illegally, crashed the aircraft, and was breaking in homes and stealing people's property, etc. And then Hubert Alexander Ingram said, the barefoot bandit has committed no crime in this country because the law is not allowed in our country. I guess there's some part of the Constitution written in invisible ink that says that if you're a foreigner, the law doesn't go for you. And so we've seen that over and over. The law is only for Bahamians in this country, well, for Bahamians in this country. And I wonder if that's the same thing, because if the police and the SEC was serious, we have Reuters reaching out and calling this dude to try to find out, or texting him trying to find out what's going on. And so he texted Reuters and told him that he's still in the Bahamas when they tracked his plane, because you can track every plane, and they saw his plane went to Argentina. So I'm going to get somewhere now. So they say his plane went to Argentina, and Reuters reached out to him. Now, and he said, I'm still in the Bahamas. Not one member of the police force, went to Albany to see if he is really in the Bahamas. All of this, a crime might have been committed. You're investigating. The first thing you should have done was go and grab that young man, take him into custody, and question him for 48 hours and extend it up to 96 if you have to make sure that funds now do not leave this country illegally. Because now what everyone is saying is that money was still being issued in the Bahamas. Withdrawals were happening in the Bahamas. And he admitted to that. And he said he was doing it. He lied on the SEC. He was doing it to be in compliance with Bahamian law. What Bahamian law? But it was only for persons who were already Y2K compliant, know your customer, KYC compliant in this country. And which would basically, like someone said, be him and his friends. So in other words, maybe he was withdrawing money and he sent money on a plane to Argentina. He didn't go with the plane, just in case the plane gets caught, maybe. But he sent a whole plane to Argentina. What was on the plane? On his plane? Was it a plane full of money? Have our police grabbed this fella yet? Has the SEC grabbed him yet? Obviously, they are BSing. Obviously, the government is in a bind because I'm sure they took some stuff from this fella. I'm sure they took some contributions from him. He is known to give up political contributions. I don't think the Bahamas would be the only place he comes to and doesn't give out political contributions. He gave $40 million. $40 million to the Democratic push, the Democratic campaign. So you think he came here and was billing their headquarters and didn't dish out some money to our governments who are known for blood sucking? Is it that our government is allowing him to take as much as he can? Is that what's happening? Something is happening because it doesn't make sense. There's these allegations going on all over the world, but our government allowed this man's plane that is supposed to be seized, because that's his asset that is in the Bahamas. We've seized cruise ships. We've seized other planes. How is it that all this is going on around the world? We all know about all of this. This dude might be a flight risk, but the government didn't say he has a private jet, and they know we have a private jet, and they didn't go and grab his plane and lock it down and put a guard there. And they didn't go to his house, search his house to see what is going on. They have a right to investigate. They're not doing that. And I believe it's because we have a corrupt government. We are a government full of corruption. And when you can stand beside a prime minister like this at a groundbreaking, of course he's going to let your plane leave the country. Of course the police isn't going to touch you. They're going to give you some time to do what you have to do. And cut you some slack. Because if the police have not picked this gentleman up yet, it's because of corruption. This is urgent. This is an urgent matter. The gentleman went and fraudulently, after his license was stopped. His license is stopped in the Bahamas, but yet they're still conducting business by allowing withdrawals, and he's saying that they're doing it to be compliant with Bahamian laws, and he ain't picked up yet. No way. No. Not him. Because of this? You think they can reach him tonight after lying on our government, after lying on our laws and sucking money out? Do you think they're going to pick him up tomorrow? No, right? No, they won't. Because we live in the Bahamas, the best place for pirates in the world. The Bahamas has a reputation for corruption. This isn't the first rodeo. We had Pegasus that was also here in this company, Mr. Knox. He was here, and there was massive fraud that was going on here. Let me tell you about the culture of the Bahamas, and especially this present administration that's in. But the other administration is corrupt also. But this present administration that is in, you heard Brave Davis justifying that Peter Nygaard gave money to both sides, to both governments. But the PLP was the ones all over him, the ones sucking from him every day. They were the ones working with him. Let me tell you how it works. They go out looking for opportunities. They go out looking and search for people who are looking for somewhere to run and somewhere to hide. Because what they do is they suck the money from these unsuspecting foreigners and then later they destroy them. Because whatever they promise them, they don't want to give them. So they destroy them, they move on and find another victim. That is how this particular organization works. That is what they constantly do. You remember Mr. Jason Nab from Pegasus? He said he was just flying and he just met Perry Christie and another politician in the airport, and they started talking to him, and Perry Christie and Obi Wilchcombe. And they started talking to him, and they told him to come down to the Bahamas and come to Grand Bahama and put his company in Grand Bahama. And next thing we know, this fellow was doing a huge scam, and they didn't check anything. Of course, they let him do what he had to do, and he received, I think it was 26 years, etc., in jail. But of course, it brought a bad light to the Bahamas. Of course, this is the worst situation ever. But this has been going on and on and on. Nab says, he recalled, and I'll pull this down for you so you can see it. Let me pull this up for you so you can see this. I want you to see this with your own eyes. Because you have to understand the culture of what we are going through as a people. And the reputation is not just that our politicians are slack. The reputation is that we are corrupt as a people because we keep putting the same corrupt politicians back. And so this is how we suffer as a people. So when you get blacklisted, don't cry and say it's because you're black. It's because we're slack. Because as far as the international community is concerned, hold on, you just got rid of Brave Davis and those corrupt crew. You call them corrupt and you fired them. Now you're bringing them back? Y'all want this. And so the reputation doesn't go on them. It goes on all of us. Because we keep repeating it. Now who's running? The same Michael Pintard and Dwayne Sands and those who we just got rid of. Menace is going to run again. He's going to run for leader again, etc. And so what is the world going to say? These Bahamian people, it's not that they're black. They slack. They are corrupt. So right here you can see in this article, you see guilty plea by former Bahamas investor. This is Jasper Nab. This is when he had set up Pegasus in Grand Bahama. He said, you see here, he said Nab that he was on his way to Mexico when he met, because he said, we called for him. As I said earlier, he says, we are looking forward to working closely with the Bahamian government to ensure that this is a beneficial endeavor for all parties involved. He said then, I didn't choose the Bahamas, you chose me. And this is his justification. He said, Nard recalled that he was on his way to Mexico when he met then Prime Minister Perry Christie and Minister of Tourism Obi Wilscombe. You, the Bahamas, you are really lucky to have those two men. He said then, they showed me the Bahamas was the right choice, and now I have no doubt in the country. His plans never did plan out. So, ladies and gentlemen, what these politicians do, and I want you to understand this. Let me tell you what they do. These politicians, especially the PLP, they find these people. You know of the story of various persons they dealt with. All right. We know from back in the day, Joe Lito, back in the 80s, and Pablo Escobar, etc. Joe Lito was allowed to have a whole island that he was running right here in the Bahamas. Joe Lito, all right? The biggest trafficker at the time, working for Pablo Escobar. He was allowed to run his operation and no one was able to touch him. All right? Working along with our government. And then our prime minister went, and for some people it was a proud moment. They were like, boy, I like how he stood up. And he went, and while knowing what was happening here in the Bahamas and what our government was encouraging, that was exposed in the Commission of Inquiry, while he knew what was going on, he went there and he said, well, you have all these DEA and CIA and this A and that A, and you expect me with my little country to stop the drugs from coming in. You all can't stop them? And that was a good excuse. It was a good excuse. He put that line together good. But the problem is, our government was being bribed to allow this to happen. And the country was cast in a bad light, and it was called a nation for sale. And so our present prime minister stood up and said, listen, y'all only blacklisting us because we're a black nation. It sounded very good, but it was not the truth at all. And so Joe Lito was allowed to do whatever he wanted in our country, and the corruption was allowed to happen. It brought death and crime increased, etc. And we destroyed our good nation that we had founded. We went into darkness. We had Peter Nygaard that came into this country, and you saw the video from him earlier in the beginning of this. Peter Nygaard came to this country and started to abuse our young women, started to embarrass us as a country. The politicians were taking money from him, FNM and PLP, destroying the reputation of this country, and he was doing whatever he wanted, and he was doing at will. He had many officials on his payroll. He felt untouchable, and he was calling this his country, and he said he spent a lot of money. And we saw videos later of him and of Brave Davis and all of these politicians at his place. We saw them. There's another video that wasn't shown on there that actually showed him bragging about this being his country, and Perry Christie standing up and vouching for him and swearing for him. Let me see if you can hear the audio on this. We didn't have time to pull it down, but let me see if you could hear the audio on this. This is corrupt Perry Christie, who taking money from this man, who allowed the nonsense to happen in this country. And so I'm going to show you. Hopefully it has audio. Of course, tell me right away if it doesn't have the audio, so our team in here could let me know. But this is Perry Christie expressing and showing his love and commitment to Peter Nygaard. Here it is.
Stephen Ferraglio, who documented the event.
Nygaard knew Christie.
So let me know if you can hear it okay.
From years. Nygaard says that he helped get Peter's citizenship in the Bahamas, so they have a long history.
He was having some difficulty with his residency, and I was introduced to him and facilitated the granting of that certificate that enabled him to be resident in the Bahamas. A first favor, perhaps.
but certainly not the last Peter Nygaard would expect from his friend Perry Christie. Their relationship goes back at least as far as this letter from 1992, obtained by the Fifth Estate, sent by Nygaard to Christie when the future Prime Minister was still a cabinet minister. In the letter, Nygaard reminds him of the tens of thousands of dollars he's donated and asks for help with some housekeeping issues, including the recurring request to expand his waterfront property onto Bahamian Crown land. The whole world is based on one hand helping the other, Nygaard writes.
This is Perry Christie.
In 2011, Perry Christie was again running to be Prime Minister, Peter Nygaard at his side.
Nygaard went to Las Vegas with some of the girls and Perry Christie. This was a photo from one of their dinners. You have Nygaard, Perry Christie, and then all the way to the right, he has like a wad of cash stuffed in her bra. For whatever reason, she has the cash in her bra.
Tomorrow, when I'm sworn in as the Prime Minister of the Bahamas, all of you ought to take pride and credit for placing me in that position.
When Christie won, Nygaard claimed the credit.
Isn't that wonderful? We won. They were the best nights of my life. I never thought I'd get so involved with politics of all things. Let alone be the key instrument in making it happen, for Christ's sake. Wow. I got millions in it.
And days later, Nygaard welcomed the victorious government ministers he had backed to Nygaard King.
Greatest victory ever. I was really sorry this time.
It's a video that many Bahamians would have found absolutely despicable. You have Peter Nygaard toasting champagne with very high-level political leaders and saying we've taken our country back.
So, ladies and gentlemen, you didn't get to see a good look at him, but Brave Davis was the one there in the hat as it was panning. And I can play it again if you all want to actually see him. But he was there in the hat, and there were other ones there, Alfred Gray and Shane Gibson, etc. And these were the people facilitating him. These were the people allowing him. So what they do is they suck from them like vultures or like leeches. They suck from anyone that has money. They'll promise them and promise them and promise them, and then somehow they work to get rid of them, whether it's through the other side that they work with or some other way. You would also remember Harachi, the sheikh, who had a bank in this country. They sucked money from him. The same Progressive Labour Party, they sucked money from him. And, they made him some promises. And then when they got there and he was making demands of them, just like Nygaard was doing, making demands because he gave some money, they shut him down. He was shut down, and they started saying about him that he was a terrorist. They started bad-mouthing and vilifying him. This is a man who was giving them money. They started bad-mouthing, he's a terrorist, we got to get him out of this country. And it was mind-blowing, all of these men give to charity. When they come in, they give to charity. So, all of them give to charity because a lot of these people give charity because, they want to seem good to be able to continue to do whatever it is they're doing. So Peter Nygaard gave to charity, just like this young man, SBF, gave to charity. Samuel Nani knows a drug dealer who our prime minister was his lawyer, Brave Davis. He also gave very charitably, more than any of these foreigners, I think. But it was for a purpose, for manipulation. And so with Harachi started exposing the checks. He started exposing the checks, and I saw one of the checks because he was writing checks to the politicians. And what they would do is let him write it in one of their family members' name or one of their aides' name, et cetera, et cetera. That's what they would do. And so when it came down to it, they could hide the truth behind what they were really doing. And so what they do is they suck off these people and then destroy them. Samuel Lanny Knowles was extradited, after years of taking money from him, and then they were destroyed. You all saw the story of the Whitefish brothers, that there was an attempt to cover up, and you know it was alleged that they had $100 million that was taken from them from Philip Brave Davis. We've shown you all the documentation, and he did it by taking the shares of the company, and then he tried to negotiate giving them our crown land to make up for the money that the PLP was benefiting from. So all that stuff where you say, "Oh, Brave is a good guy. He has a lot. He's going to give you good," and you went to Perry or one of them. They said, "Go to Brave. Go to Brave," because Brave had the Whitefish brothers' money, and so Brave would then give out that money. He wasn't giving it because he was good. He was giving it because he was trying to buy his way to be leader, to be prime minister, because it's easy to spend someone else's money. It's simple as that. All right, and so of course, I'm definitely going to be, under attack because of these words that I'm saying. But I'm willing to do that because I have no fear of these corrupt politicians. I fear only God because they can't touch me unless I'm to delivered to them by God Himself. So I have no fear or concern about them or what they will do to me. I think what's more important is that I wake up some Bahamian, maybe it's a young future Bahamian, who may look back at these words on social media and it may inspire them. Like Nelson Mandela, who was 27 years gone, inspired some young South Africans. They always tell you about the story of Nelson Mandela, but they don't tell you who really freed Nelson Mandela, who really fought. They don't tell you the story about that because they don't want you to know how they don't want you to be inspired. It wasn't Nelson Mandela. He was in jail for 27 years. And some young people started reading his story and heard about his story, and they started rising up. They started rising up. They started fighting and sacrificing. It was some young people because the people of Nelson Mandela's day allowed him to be arrested, allowed him to go to jail. They should have stood up, but everyone was afraid. If they had stood up, it wouldn't have taken so much years. Apartheid would have not lasted so long. And I call on every Bahamian to realize that you are under attack, that these politicians is allowing this country to be sucked dry, and they are sucking dry, and they are getting wealthy, while you are getting nothing because of corruption. And there's so many other examples that I won't go into now of corruption by this PLP. There's so many examples of corruption on the whole, and how they use the foreigners, suck from them, and then find a way to get rid of them. How much y'all better wake up? It's the same old thing over and over and repeatedly. And I cry for this country. I cry for this country. I'm so concerned for this country and what's happening here. And so now this young man is being allowed days to do whatever it is he plans. This young man has not been questioned by our authorities. They're talking some nonsense that the police is talking some nonsense that they are working with the securities, the Bahamas Securities Commission, to see if any crime was committed. What kind of nonsense is this? What kind of nonsense is this? Everyone in the whole world can see what is going on except our government. Only us. Because they need some time to let this fella hide some stuff and run away to stuff and do some stuff. Everyone can see, except our government. And so none of our government officials have gone there. None of our government officials have questioned him. He probably talking to Brave on a daily basis, but none of them. None of them. And so we got to get serious in this country. I was with a group of people who was trying to buy a hotel, the Grand Lucayan. And thanks to corruption, what appears to be corruption, after the after the bidding process had stopped, Grand Lucayan was then sold to Royal Caribbean, who wasn't a part of the bidding process. And it appears to clearly be corruption. Royal Caribbean didn't have the money. The government came and told us and asked us to put up the money for them. Because I don't know who they think that they made a deal. This is what we believe. Did some under the table deal. This is what we believe. And gave the deal to them, and they had the money, but the group who had the money, proof of funds in the bank, you didn't do it with them. But to help you benefit, you want them to give up the money? There's too much corruption in this country. And either we're going to stand up and change it as a people, or we're going to keep with the same cycle of being embarrassed. This is affecting you. Don't think it's just affecting the government. Don't think it's they're just calling the Bahamas name. This is affecting you as a person. This is going to get worse and worse. It's going to be extremely difficult for us to do anything in this country. Stay tuned. You're going to see the effects of what these politicians are doing. And you may think that you're not going to feel it because you're not feeling it now directly, but you are going to feel it. You are going to feel it. It's coming. I want you to remember these words as I was warning you. It is coming. It's coming. And so this is how this corrupt organization operates. They look for these people who are running from something. They look and they suck from them, and they need to destroy them. There was a young man called T-Ron Fowler. And he was a young man who they were fighting in the cabinet over. Remember? What's his name? Kenyatta Gibson and Code Smith had a fight. Well, they were fighting over this young man. They had a major fight over him. And and it was all about corruption. It was all about corruption. And that man said he used to do some dirty work for PLP politicians. He was involved in dirty work as it relates to the NIGAD situation, and he wrote a book that exposed a lot of the corruption that was happening. He named politicians who he would provide drugs to. He talked about the homosexuality that was rampant. He was really talking about the PLP, which was his party. That's the people he loved. He broke the whole thing down. He talked how he was in the drug game, but he was working for politicians. And he said they set him up. After they'd used him for all those years, they felt he'd known too much. And they set him up, and that's what he says. And he got locked up. He spent time in the States. And while he was in the States, he was annoyed because he knew that the senior politician, PLP politicians who sent him, set him up. And as he was in jail, he spent his time in jail writing a book. Writing a very interesting book where he told it all. And the young man went to a couple people because, he wasn't good at writing, and so he wanted to edit it. And then he came to me to ask me to help because he felt like everyone else would be afraid to help him out. But he said I was courageous, and he wanted me to help edit the book or turn him over to someone. So when he gave me the book to look at it, and when I read what was in that book about politicians, etc., and stuff that used to happen in NIGAD House, and he named the politicians in that book. I told him, I said, Tehran, if you publish or attempt to publish this book, they are going to kill you. You will not survive it. I said, Tehran, if you're going to go forward with this, just know that you are a dead man walking, because you have a lot of these people's dirt. He said, I did their dirt. I said to Tehran, just make sure you want to go forward with this. I said, I'm not interested in dealing with this right now. I have no interest. I will help turn you over to someone who might could help you. And I turned him over to a journalist. And he let her see one page of it. I think one chapter of it, I think. I was Miss Patty Roker. And she didn't go forward with it. But the stuff he had in that book really opened my eyes to what's going on in this country. Shortly after, they found the young man dead, just like I'd warned him. They found him burnt in the car on Hana Road. He was shot and he was burnt up in the car. I had warned him. He didn't listen. The content of that book is serious. We live in a terribly corrupt nation where our politicians are involved in the corruption. And I've had enough of it, and I'm willing to stand up. I'm not looking for friends. I'm not looking for anyone to stand up with me. I'm not standing up and saying that I am perfect. I'm not saying I never made any mistakes in my life. All I'm saying is that our country can do so much better. Our country can do so much better. I have the book that T-Ron Fowler left. I have the book. You know what? I think you should see a sneak peek. Something has to break in this country where we're going to realize that we can't go on like this. We can't go on like this. We have an opportunity. We are at a crossroad right now. Haiti was at this crossroad before. Jamaica was at this crossroad. We can go in the right direction and benefit from our natural resources, get rid of corruption, so that America doesn't have to be complaining about us. They're complaining when the FNM is in power. They're complaining when the PLP is in power about the corruption. Other nations are complaining. We can go in that direction where we end corruption in this country, man. Clean this place up. Let our Bahamians benefit from our natural resources. Sell to our neighbors. Sell to America our sand and limestone. We don't want to not sell to them. We want them to have it. But we want our country to benefit. Our natural resources was given to us to give to the world, to sell to the world, to benefit us. Just like America's natural resources was for them, to benefit them, to sell to the rest of the world and China and Africa and everywhere else. I just sat down and I watched an amazing movie, one of the best movies ever. I sat down and I watched Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. And it was a movie about natural resources, a country that had natural resources that was valuable. And they had to protect their natural resources. Their natural resources made them great and powerful and wealthy. We can do the same. We have a natural resource that the whole world needs: sand and aragonite, limestone. We have the natural resources they need. We don't even have to touch oil. Our carbon credits is number one in the world. We're going to talk about that in a minute. So just hang with me. Because our foolish government leaders went to COP27 like imbeciles, giving away our secrets. The biggest key to business is your secrets. I cannot make a Big Mac. That's why I go to McDonald's for a Big Mac. I cannot make that, no matter what. I can't make that. And that is why I buy Coca-Cola. The biggest key to business is secrets. I can't make a Windows software, and so I pay Bill Gates for it. The biggest key to business is secrets, and our imbecile leaders went there and told our secrets. I'll get to that in a minute. Y'all studio audience, make sure I don't skip over that. Make sure I get back to that. All right. There's a book that I believe a young man was killed for. There's a book I believe he was killed for, and I have the book. And the book talks about a lot of the corruption. And while he sat in jail, he wrote down everything about why he was in jail and the dirt that he did for the politicians. He talked it. He talked it. All right. This is about the corruption that we face in this nation. There's a world that's going on that y'all don't know about. This is the back cover of his book. And this is some of his chapters. I'll just scroll over it. All right. I'll just scroll quickly over it. There's some dangerous stuff in here. All right. We have the book. It's just a part of it. We have chapters. I'll leave that right there. Our country is corrupt to the core. Corrupt to the core. I remember Hubert Alexander Ingram. Hubert Alexander Ingram was a part of the Progressive Liberal Party. I'm just damn how you get that. I got it from the gentleman before he died, and I told him that they would kill him over this book. But it has all the secrets. It has where the skeletons are buried. You know, we always have the secrets. We always have the secrets. You know, Ingram, you might have heard that Ingram was a CIA informant. He was. I actually have the documents on that also. I want to see the documents on that. I have the documents on that also. The actual documents, the letters that he wrote to say that basically he was saying that our government was, corrupt. He was willing to be an informant. He's willing to stitch on his own party. He was willing to go out there, and he said he would be a much better leader. All right. Let me pull it up for you. I'm going to pull it up for you. Let me see how I can get this up for you quickly. So much corruption in this country. Let's see how the quickest way I can get this for you. Hold on one sec. Give me one sec. All right, hold on. Let's go back there. Just give me one sec. Okay, I'm gonna pull this up for you right now. I think Bahamians deserve to see some things because, a lot of things happen in this country and we don't know what's going on. And we need new, fearless, non-corrupt leaders. We can do so well, but I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. Hmm. Okay. Okay. Found them. Tell me to these we could upload one time. All right. So someone says drop it now before they get you. um, listen, I have no fear of anything that they could do unto me. I was sent here for this purpose. I was sent here with the spirit of David to challenge Goliath, to speak the truth. The spirit of John the Baptist, to speak the truth, even if they'll cut off your head. That's what I was sent here to do. But anyway, these are the Ingram documents. Here, no, that's not Ingram. That's my document. Yeah, here's a document. That was the document when I was leaving the police force and I got my honorable discharge. But these are the Ingram documents. Let me see how I could pull them up for you in the best order because I can hardly see them. Let me see how we can do this. All right. What's all this? What's all this? I got to go through them. All right. This was their response to him. See if I could pull them up because they're very small on my screen. Hold on. All right. So we got some documents here. All right. All right. I just want to see the best order to show them in. Okay. Oh, that's a different one. Oh, that's the bill of sale where Brave Davis was selling the Sea Hauler. Hold on. Sorry about that. Uh, all right. This is a letter from Hubert Ingram. As you can see, Hubert Ingram, and he was writing to Andrew. He was writing to someone from the U.S. government. He says, Dear Andrew, in keeping with my posture towards a continued proliferation of problems that you are clearly aware of and your requirements to have in written form my desire to meet with the relevant persons in Washington, I find it now urgent to make that request of you. My posture is as well as yours, towards those we represent makes it imperative that we eliminate the root of what is causing good governance to falter in the Bahamas. This is September 20th, 1983. Persons do things for different reasons and in different ways, and quite frankly, I would conduct public affairs more honestly than those presently doing so. In view of our past discussions and present circumstances, along with my resolve to do whatever is necessary a meeting in a strictly confidential environment at the earliest availability of the Attorney General is not only appreciated but now urgently needed. I remain resolute in my posture to confidently await your affirmative reply to my request. That's Hubert Ingram letter. He wrote to them. And they wrote him back and they said, listen, one they said, let me see. They wrote him back. This is December 14th, 1983. Mr. Hubert Ingram, United States Embassy, Bahamas. My dear Mr. Ingram, upon review of your request to meet with me in a strictly confidential environment, I must unfortunately deny your request on the basis that such a meeting should be arranged through the diplomatic channels of both U.S. and Bahamas governments. Your request, whether of a public or private nature, does not meet the diplomatic requirements constituting your position in the Bahamas government, and certainly not in my position in the United States government. While having recently been made aware of your concern about your government's narcotic interdiction policies, your government involved with drugs, I must, however, reiterate that any meeting between you and I be arranged through the appropriate diplomatic channels of our respective governments. Nevertheless, I hope you would still maintain an open relationship with U.S. officials in the Bahamas while attempting to confront what you consider to be suspicious actions on the part of Bahamian government officials. This is from William French Smith, Attorney General, by Federal Courier. That's the response. Now, the response to put in writing to tell him that, but then a different arrangement was made. Let me see if I could find it. Which letter that is there? Hold on. Let me go. Just give me a second. Okay, that's a different one. That's to do with the sorry, I had that mix up in there. That's the Sea Hauler thing. Now, this is another response, all right? This is from the US Department of Justice, all right? They said, so it's from the US Attorney, Robert Merkel. It says, be advised that all collect calls from Mr. Hubert Ingram, confidential informant 1622, and or Mr. Aaron Kiki Knowles, confidential informant 0827, must be accepted. The telephone numbers of incoming calls should be requested to effect an immediate callback response. The requested telephone numbers and the confidential informant file number must be recorded in the FTS logbook for federal accounting purposes. Likewise, any communication charges outside Jacksonville Task Force headquarters incurred by any and all assistant U.S. attorney, DEA, or customs agent regarding the mentioned persons can be reimbursed with proof of telephone numbers called, date, time, and charges. All intelligence conveyance must be recorded and duplicated prior to being filed in the confidential informant dossier. So Ingram's strategy to getting into power was by telling them, listen, I can work for y'all, I can work with y'all, I can snitch on them, and y'all go owe me something. And then they trusted him to get in power, and so things were put in place to make sure that he got into power. I have all the documents. There's more documents. I'm not going to show any more right now. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 18 more documents as it relates to that. Ingram. Now, what he was doing was a noble thing. If the government is doing wrong, you should stand against them. But he was doing it to gain power. That was his strategy to get in. That was his strategy to get in. It's much more than that. We live in a corrupt nation. And we have to clean this out for our sakes, for our children's sake. We have to fix this. Our reputation is stained. Why can't we have a country with a clean reputation? These people went to COP 27, this Brave Davis administration. Well, first of all, they went to party, right? So, of course, you've seen the videos. There's more and more partying going on. And so they're enjoying their life. They're partying. I won't play the whole thing. All of you have seen the video. They're partying their life away while our country is in shambles. And so they went there, and the Prime Minister took Anthony Ferguson with him. Remember, I told you Anthony Ferguson is one of the owners of The Guardian and Colina Insurance, et cetera, So he's one of the oligarchs, all right? But he is one of the black ones, the token Negroes that they have in there. And so he took him with him. These fellas went there, and I'm going to play a little clip from you of them there, of their report, because this is a PR government, and their report is is what they put forward. And here is them talking to CARICOM. This isn't to the whole COP27. This isn't to nations who can make a difference or make a change. They're talking to CARICOM nations. So there's a meeting with fellow CARICOM nations. That's Jamaica, Barbados, fellow CARICOM nations. I don't know if their prime ministers were there or just people from there were there. I don't know. It looked like a little put together thing. But this is the conversation.
We are proud of the innovative regulatory framework that we introduced several months ago for dealing and trading in blue carbon credits.
The Bahamas introduced to the world its plan to leverage its blue carbon credits on the global stage. Director of Carbon Management Anthony Ferguson says there are lots of opportunities in this field.
So the point is there are lots of opportunities for us here in the Bahamas. And what we've decided with the direction of the government is that we want to design our asset, a natural asset, on three principles. One, biodiversity, of course the climate, but more importantly, impacting the community.
Very quick summary what a carbon credit is. A tradable permit or certificate provides validation of an offset. 1 ton of carbon is a carbon credit. Corporations, individuals all over the world can buy these credits to help achieve their ESG goals, meanwhile providing those revenues through protection to sovereign nations.
Along with the passage of legislation for dealing and trading in blue carbon credits, the ground is also set for the launch of an environmental social governance mutual fund that will go to market before year's end. And there's more.
The most immediate opportunity for us in the Bahamas, given some of the statements by the IMF, is a sovereign debt swap for carbon assets. Of course, we would like to issue within the next 12 months a blue note or bond. And also, we have a very ambitious plan. By the end of 2024, we would like to have the first listing of a natural asset company on the New York Stock Exchange. So that's very exciting for us, and we're looking forward to doing that.
Protocols should also be agreed around the effective use of revenues, application of measurements, reporting and verification standards, and the avoidance of practices such as greenwashing. We believe that our approach in the Bahamas is a gold standard from which others can also benefit. We also believe that our approach reflects the realities of what is needed in effecting real action to meet the challenge of climate change.
Keeping you in the know, this is OPM.
Bahamas, what is extremely concerning is that with all this FTX nonsense, it's an embarrassment for our country, and that's terrible, and it's going to set us back 40 years. And it's going to cause the officials to want to watch us more, because obviously we didn't do checks and balances. But this government announced to you, the Bahamian people, that they were taking our carbon credits that they said is worth trillions. It's their word, not mine. That they said is worth trillions. They said they were taking our carbon credits and they were going to give it to FTX for FTX to trade. And FTX would get a percentage of it. FTX would get the majority of it, and we would get something. They were going to use FTX platform to use our carbon credits. Let me tell you what really the plan was. FTX knew it was in trouble. They ran to the Bahamas to get away from the regulatory checks of Hong Kong, where they were from, because Hong Kong is very disciplined and strict. And they could come here. And while our government should have just checked their assets, that's the first thing the regulators here should have done, check the assets. When CLICO came, their asset was land. They had land that they used as their assets. And when they closed down, they was able to sell it off, but that was their asset. When Deputy Prime Minister was going into the financial business, the insurance business, BAF, he used land as an asset, I'm told. All right? So you have to have some tangible asset to back you. This company, in 2 minutes of talking to them, I would have asked them, where's your backing? Where's your money? Where's your capital? Where's your assets? And if they had told me that their assets was some tokens that they created, I would have said, listen, keep going. If the country down south named Haiti that seems to be corrupt, go there. They might take your company, but not the Bahamas. You're not going to ruin our reputation. Because if your assets is mostly your token that you create and that you can make as much as you want, you have no assets. That's imaginary. That's imaginary. And so our government should object, and they didn't. But what they were going to do, knowing that they were in trouble, they were going to use our carbon credits as assets. That's what these new bills that Brave Davis and them were trying to push through was for. They were trying to rush and push these bills through. They got rid of our sovereign wealth fund. They got rid of it, which could have possibly, it's set up that way now, but it could have been changed to make all Bahamians benefit. They got rid of our sovereign wealth fund, and they said they're going to have a national investment fund, which means that they can take our assets and give it to a private company or put it in a private company and have other private companies benefit from it. That was the plot. This is what is not making international news. This is what is not making local news. This is the actual plot that our government was participating with them. They had already announced it to us that they was going to take our carbon credits, put it in FTX, and FTX was going to use our carbon credits as their asset now. And that was going to save their Ponzi scheme. Bahamas, wake up. This is the biggest scandal in Bahamian history. This is worse than the Joe Leader scandal of drugs back in the day. This is worse than the Oban deal. That was a local deal where they were giving them a bunch of land when it was supposed to be an oil deal. That was a big scandal, but that was a local scandal. This is bigger than the Anna Nicole Smith scandal. This is bigger than the NIGAD scandal. This is the biggest scandal that we've ever had in this country's history. The question is, what are you going to do? The question is, what are you going to do? Well, tomorrow and this week, the PLP is going to start attacking me. We know that's going to happen. They're going to say everything in the world about me. But I need you to stay focused because they're saying about me. If I'm not here next week, you need to stand up. This is about the Bahamian people who have reached a point where we have had enough. They were going to give our carbon credit. You heard them saying, oh, we have a company, we're going to give this, we're going to give that. It's like, why are you doing that? Did FTX come and pay you all off and you all decide that you're going to just give them our carbon credits? Not one media is covering that. Let's see if that's what they talk about tomorrow. If not, well, you saw the owner of The Guardian there with Brave Davis, standing there with him. You saw him last week, I showed you. He was there to the table sitting down with him. Why do you think The Guardian runs stories that is positive and beneficial to Brave? Watch our news and see how their stories are towards him. We got to transform this country, man. The media is so low. Clint Watson got a job. Other media persons got a job. Brave has bought them out. This is the beginning of fascism, a totalitarian state, an authoritarian state. This is the beginning of a dictatorship. The only thing standing in their way right now, the FNM has no credibility. They're in shambles, and they have no right to speak on anything because they're just as corrupt. The people from the other third parties have disappeared. Some of them were bought out by Brave Davis. Outright. Given jobs, given whatever else. Just bought out. The media is being slack on them. He's bought them out. The only thing keeping us from a dictatorship is Lincoln Bain and the COI. This is the only thing holding this Bahamas together. There's more scandals to come. There's more wheeling and dealing going on right now. But their biggest wheel and deal was this carbon credit thing. Notice they're not talking anything about you benefiting. They took away your benefits. I told you before election that Brave was going to do this. But you didn't listen. He told me that yes, this is the way to go. Yes, what I'm saying is real. Although they went publicly and said Lincoln selling dreams. But he said, we can't let the people benefit from it. Let's give it to a few people and let them give jobs. This is the crime of the century. Wake up, Bahamas. Wake up. I'm calling on the Commissioner of Police to do his job, on the Bahamas Securities Commission to do their job. Get out there to Albany now. Arrest that young man and question him. Send a wire, have that plane seized. Have the police there check the cameras and see what came off of that plane. Do an investigation. What did they clear customs? What did they take off that plane? Did they take loads of money off that plane? Did they take files and paperwork off that plane and take it to Argentina? We're calling on the police to end corruption now and do your job. Enough of selling out this nation. And I'm calling for the international community to stand with us. Stand with the Bahamian people, the non-corrupt Bahamian people. Stand with us. We want to create a Bahamas where there's no corruption, where your companies don't have to worry about bribing officials. We want to create a new Bahamas that will benefit the whole world. We're asking you to stand with us. We are being attacked and victimized by our government. We are asking you to stand with us. Our government is trying to silence us. They've locked us up on trumped up charges against the wishes of, against the rules of the UN, political persecution. We're asking you to stand with us. We're asking for your help. The end of corruption will not only benefit the Bahamian people, it will benefit the whole world. Because we have natural resources that we are willing to offer to the whole entire world, that the world needs. So many companies from around the world have complained about the corruption that they have to deal with in this country, from the PLP and the FNM. We want to end those days. All we're asking you to do is stand with us. You stood with Ingram because you believed that he would not be corrupt. Instead, he was corrupt. We're asking you to give something new a chance. Stand with us. Stand with us. The corruption will come to an end. People coming to our country to hide their money will come to an end. We don't need that business. We're in a natural resources business. We're going to transform this. If they want to hide money, they can take it somewhere else. Stand with us as we transform this nation. We're going to see if the UN is serious about ending corruption. We stood to deliver bills to the members of parliament, and we were attacked by a police officer who was under instructions, clearly. What we're asking the international community to do is standing with us. Stand with us. I started to watch the video of Anthony Ferguson, talking, and it was clear that he knows nothing about this industry. Yeah, he's a wealthy man, and he's dealt with CFAL and that kind of stuff. But carbon credits is something new. And I watch him talk, and as I watch him talk, it was he was fumbling. He was fumbling.
We have identified a new asset class that we see taking shape over the next many years. As you know, ESG investments clocked over $2 trillion last year. So we believe that in the several years, you would have a single asset class called natural assets. Now, within that natural asset class, there will be sub-allocations. In the Bahamas, while we want to sell carbon credits, we want to sell carbon certificates. Certificates include all of the additionalities of biodiversity that we have. And so we see here, if I go from the top, liquidity is really great, driven by derivatives, so futures.
What's all this? You talking about carbon credits? You came here to do this presentation, and you're You are arming your way to this whole presentation because you know nothing about carbon credits. Nothing. All y'all are doing is whatever SBF told y'all, whatever FTX told y'all. Go there and say this and that is going to sound good. We're going to go into this carbon credit thing. I'm going to take it. I'm going to manage it for y'all. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And we're going to live happily ever after. And we're going to scam the whole world. That's all. Because y'all, none of y'all know anything about this.
Options, warrants, that's one of our asset classes that we will be looking to monetize. We're going to use the verified carbon units as a potential opportunity. The most immediate opportunity for us in the Bahamas, given some of the statements by the IMF, is a sovereign debt swap for carbon.
Nonsense. Sovereign debt swap. He's talking to CARICOM again. What I was saying is that CARICOM is our competition. Why would you go to your competition and tell them about your whole entire strategy and what you want to do? Get the Bahamas in there. Get the Bahamas making money from this. Be an example to show them the success and let them come and follow you. That's the best way. Why are you going there and telling them your strategy and what you're doing? You want to get ahead of the pack. Go in there, benefit from it, and let them come in after you. Let our people benefit. That is what I would have done. I would have put certain things in place. I would have got into the carbon credits industry, and I would have had the Bahamas making billions of dollars from our carbon credits right away, and then let Jamaica see what we are doing, and then let Trinidad see what we are doing, and then let Barbados see what we are doing, and we would build up our strength, and then we would help them up if they need help, because they benefit the whole world. But why are these clowns over there running their mouths? Bahamas, we need change. And we need change desperately. We need change desperately. And when I say desperately, I mean desperately. I'm going to open the phone lines. Oh, there. This phone has no power. I'm going to open the phone lines for you. Let's get this phone up and running for you. Thank you. You get this phone up and running. The phone I'm going to call in. Tell me what you think. Tell the world what you think. Tell the government what you think about what you've seen and what you have heard. I'm sick of the corruption, man. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. I'm also sick of the Bahamian people putting these same people in there time after time after time. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. There's so much more I wanted to say, but due to time, I'm going to open the phone lines now. The phone line is up. Call me. Let's talk. Let's talk. We got to do something. Someone has a question: does the car come up the same amount of carbon credits as we do? No one has the amount of carbon credits as we do, but they also do have carbon credits. They do have trees. Trees are carbon credits. They do have mangroves. They do have seagrass. We have the biggest amount of seagrass. We have the biggest amount of mangroves, etc. But they also have it. And so, why do we want to start in the market with competition? Because if we start with what we have, we can make more. If I'm going to the clothing store, I'm not going to go in the neighborhood and say, listen, let's all open the clothing store and let's open on this same corner and let's all go into this so we can sell clothing. No. Our country has been run by people who've never run business before, never even had a business they've failed at. And so they have the wrong kind of mindset. I'm telling you now, I wasn't going to Jamaica and Barbados and the rest of them to tell them how I'm going into carbon credits. I was going to start it, be an example, and then encourage them to get in. Make sure that what is happening here. All right, let's go to the phone lines, y'all. What's up? Registration code. What's happening here? All right, let's go to phone lines. 804-4264. Come on, let's talk. What do you think about what you heard? What's happening? Our government over there partying, and they was plotting to give away all of our carbon credits, and the company crumbled. What do you think? 804-4264. You can call on the regular line, or you can call on WhatsApp. Someone says, if CARICOM have it, why aren't they bettering their country? It's making no sense having or being a part when no one operating it. Well, the same way we're not using it. The problem is a lot of our countries are run by corruption. The same two-party system where you have two parties who are passing the baton back and forth to each other while they're doing corruption. You could have been benefiting from these carbon credits a long time ago. Good afternoon, you're live.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, you're live.
Yeah, you know what really concerned me a lot too, Mr. President, is that we have a prime minister the whole way with an entourage, right? How much was in that entourage, DJ?
70 persons.
70 persons. 70 persons. Who paid for those 70 persons?
They're saying that some private companies paid for some of those persons. So probably FTX might have paid for some of them. They didn't tell us the company. So they promised transparency, but they should have said 70 persons are going. A private company paid, and it's Shell, Bahamas, Aracombs paid. I'm not saying that's who paid. I'm saying that they should have listed companies that paid. So we know that they're telling the truth. So that we know that these are not companies that want some favor. We need an open society. And so I do not believe that any caring, loving private company paid. I believe that they just used that because they got so much flack recently. So they offered some private companies to pay, and they're going to pay them back with some contract, et cetera, et cetera. That's what I believe.
But you know what's so concerning also on top of that is that Mr. Davis, first major hurricane, and he leaves the country and know that we were on track to be hit. Some person's going to say, well, what could he do in a hurricane? And you know what I said? Lift a damn sandbag. Needed every hands on deck. I don't care if it was a flood or whatever. A hurricane is the number one storm. It's a perfect storm.
Yes.
When it's 1, 2 to 5, it's a perfect storm. A hurricane is a hurricane. You deal with climate change, here's one in our face and you take off.
to leave someone to hold the reins. It just goes to show that he has no love in his heart for even his people. No love in his heart for his people.
Listen.
What you've done in that situation, Mr. Bay.
Listen, if I was going on a trip like that he is going on, and a hurricane is headed to our country, especially after the devastating situation we've had with Dorian, that also approached the Bahamas as a light hurricane. It came up the entire East Coast as a Category 1, parked outside of Abaco, and then became a Category 4, then became a Category 5, and then sat on Abaco. Knowing that anything can happen as it relates to hurricanes right now, I would have canceled my trip and I would have been back here. I would have been here to manage that situation. In fact, we have... Yes.
That's what it is doing. And that's what I said to many persons, many persons I've spoken with. And they said, a president of the United States would have left, they would have made their way back. Before the scene arrived, they would have left in the first place.
There are...
I'm going to be here with my people, even if I have to live like sand bag.
Yeah.
I appreciate you very much for bringing all of this up. Listen, some serious information out there right now. Some serious stuff that you carry, some serious load. You understand me, brother?
Pray for me, my brother.
I'm glad that I know that you're smart enough that it's being shared and secured with many other persons who have access to what you know right now.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you, man.
All right. Thank you, man.
God.
The line is open. 804-4264. 804. Oh, someone's trying to call and didn't get you just now. You can call back now. 804-4264. We see we missed 4 of your calls. 804-4264 is the number. You can call in. Let them know what you feel. Let them know what you heard. If you have information, come and give us the information. Give it to us live. Let us know what you also have. I have so much information. I don't even know what to do with it. I've been having lives every single week now for, it's going on 2 years. And every week I'm producing documents and giving more information. There's no way I can get to all of this in one lifetime. That's how much information it is about the corruption that has been happening in this country. And we want a total and complete reset. If you've been trying to call and you call back now, 804-4264. You can call back now. 804-4264. I see several of you have been trying to call in. Someone says, you all need to understand Bahamas are not brave people. He said he is Haitian, so the hell with y'all. The storm brave. Maybe if the storm was going to Haiti, he would have canceled his trip and gone there to help them because that's his people. Good afternoon, you're live.
Yes. Hello?
Yes, you're live. So you can turn down your device that you're listening to and just listen to the phone.
Okay. Would you be able, when we win, I'm talking in faith.
Yes.
When we win, would you be able to undo all the damage they have done, signed and everything to this country?
Yes, we would. There's nothing stopping us from redoing it and having a total reset. In fact, we're going to have a total brand new country. And so it's a total, complete reset. We're going to become a republic, and we're going to be a brand new country. And so that's going to have some repercussions. I won't say what it is ahead of time now, but we're going to be a brand new country.
So all of those stuff they sign on to from Pinland time, Ingram time, and all of this time, it can be undone by when you are president.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you're not tied into nothing that you can't undo.
All of those odious deals, according to international law, can be redone. All right. Any odious deal, especially deals where it was to benefit corruption and not the people, all of them can be undone. I want people to understand that there are persons who already have deals to do deal with natural resources. They already have contracts, etc. We don't have to stop their contracts. They keep doing what they're doing. We're going to benefit now. But we're also going to be having other people come and do it, and we're going to be involved in it also. So Morton Salt isn't the only person that can make salt. We can have other salt. We have 13 other salt ponds in this country, natural salt ponds in this country. And so others can make salt. They don't have an exclusive. No one has an exclusive to any of our natural resources. And so we don't have to worry about what they're doing now. They continue to do what they're doing. But the problem is, in the aragonite industry, the $2 that they promised that they were supposed to pay the government isn't taking it. The $2. So even the little $2 a ton that the government is supposed to get, they're not collecting that. They don't even have a scale at Iraqi. And so this is the problem. Morton Salt is paying $500 per ship. Morton Salt is going to get a proper deal. They're going to get a proper contract that is going to allow the Bahamian people to benefit. So we're going to now benefit from what they're doing, and we're going to also go into the salt industry. All right? As simple as that. We're the Bahamas. We have salt. We are salt. And so we're going to go into that industry. Our money is in our waters. We are the marine kingdom. I know religious people have this spooky thing about the marine kingdom or whatever, but that's what they're talking about. We are the water world. And so all of our wealth is in our waters. And we're going to go and get it. Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Okay. God bless you, bro.
Let's make it happen.
Yes, we will, because I'm all about making sure, talking to this one and that one.
Yes.
Making them see.
You have to evangelize.
Exactly.
Yes.
Okay, boy. God bless you.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm sorry. When I say that, sometimes people who into the spiritual stuff, they say Marine Kingdom. That sounds like this world and that world. I never see nothing about no Marine Kingdom and demons living in the water in the Bible. Show me in the Bible about the Marine Kingdom, and we could talk about that. But I am talking about the Bahamas and all of our wealth being in our waters. All right, and so that's what I'm talking about. We are the Marine Kingdom. And so we are going to transform our lives by what is in our waters. Our seagrass is in our waters. Our mango is in our waters. Our aragonite is in the waters. The sand is in the waters. Okay? Our limestone, they're digging up in our waters every day and getting our limestone. We got to wake up. We got to wake up. All right? So this is more I need to show you, but I'm going to show you some more stuff on Tuesday when I go live again. Make sure you share this live. So the phone line is still open. It's 804-4264, 804-4264, 804-4264. All right? 804. Let me see if I can take some of your comments on Messenger. See, that's why OWN postponed the event, because they knew FTX was going to be a fail. Interesting. If you have comments, put them on there. I'm going to read them now. Put your comments, your questions, etc. on there, or you can call in. Sam was never with a good-looking woman. Come on. I can't read that. Where is FBF? Good question. We have no idea where he is. And our incompetent law enforcement, while they can find... Listen, our law enforcement, have you seen over the last few months, found hundreds of police officers and defense force officers with armored tanks and machine guns to go on the farm where old ladies were farming on Crown land. Not one of them dare go anywhere near SBF to even check to see if he is here. They wouldn't even knock on the door and say, hey, boss, we know you got our party on lock, our government on lock, but we're just checking to see if you're alive, if you're still in the Bahamas. Not one of them. But they will send the army for our Bahamians on the Crown land. But not one of them dared. Now, eventually they're going to go. We know they're going to go eventually. But you're going to go after he's allowed money to be withdrawn and people and private jets to fly out? Come on, man. What kind of banana republic is this? Boy. Someone says they aren't looking for him. Yeah, I know they aren't looking for him. They're waiting on getting instructions. The man came with all kinds of bribes. And when I saw that made me know something was going on too. all the money given out to charity. That's how drug dealers come to town. They come and they start giving out stuff. Good afternoon, you're live.
Hey, good night. What's up, Lincoln? I can make this very quick.
Go ahead.
Again, Thursday night, right? Man, I was sleeping on my bed or something like that, man. They just dozing off, right? I had it on. Tucker Carlson show. Tucker Carlson was here on the brief talking with the FTX.
Who's that? Oh, Tucker Carlson. Okay.
Yeah, he had on the brief talking with the FTX. My eyes closed in there and I was sleeping there. I heard him talk with the Bahamas and then that man, I woke up.
Wow.
See that, right? I only care about the world watching and everything and see what's going on and things like that.
The whole world.
Yeah, with my eyes open right now when I'm the Bahamas, you see?
Wow.
You know? Yeah, man. Right, yeah. All right.
Wow, thank you, man. Yeah, I'm watching so many shows right now where all they're talking about is the Bahamas and you know, they're talking about us sarcastically about the corruption. Because these politicians, they will let anyone come in. There's so many pirates in our gated communities right now. That'll blow your mind. You watch movies and you see them rob a bank, and only two places they want to go to escape. They go to Jamaica or they come here. You see it. They talk about it. They say it in the movies. Going to hide out in the Bahamas. And this has been going on. Ladies and gentlemen, get ready for them to start attacking me. Remember the last time I told you they was going to do it, and they still did it. They started attacking me, you know. Get ready for them to start attacking me over the next couple of weeks to distract from the nonsense in this major debacle. But all I want you to do is stay focused. Stay focused. Stay focused, Bahamas. We can transform this nation. I am so hopeful right now. Let me see this person's coming. Lincoln, I cannot call in. What I need to know, hold on, because your chat is going to move. Let me see if I could see it here. Lincoln, I cannot call in. What I need to know is FTX, CFAL, IMF will all be partnering together on carbon credits. I'll get to you one second. Let me just take another call. Good afternoon, you're live.
Hi, good evening, Mr. Bean. Thank you for taking my call.
Good evening.
So I don't have a question, but just a statement to make.
Go ahead.
So Bahamians, I see that we are praising the Prime Minister and his wife while they're on the international stage just partying and having a good time. Persons that say, you know, they deserve it. But my thing is, since Davis administration came in, and with all the problems we have in our country, he has been leaving this country. They have been meeting in the House of Assembly once a week. With all of the major issues that we are having in this country, we are paying them for solutions. They should be meeting in the House more than once a day.
Yes.
They are employed by the Bahamian people. One day out of the week is not enough. It's not enough. And they're praising him, saying that he is doing a good job. Have our Freedom of Information Act been enacted yet? No. What are they talking about when it comes to our carbon credit? Are we going to benefit directly from it? No. What about the natural resource ministry? We are not hearing anything from that. It's like they're taking the Bahamian people for a joke nationally and internationally. And it has to stop because we are people. We are proud people. And we deserve respect from our government as well as the international community. We are not a nation of monkeys. We are a nation of intelligent people. We need to break through the barrier of the inconsistency in this country, especially as it relates to our leadership.
Wow.
And enough is enough. We are a fed up people. Now, I get very passionate, and I am upset because of the way my country is being run. Some things I want to say, I can't say right now. But Lincoln, I'm one of those people who is ready to walk in the House of Parliament and drag them up by their neckties and their skirt tails. They need to get out of our house. And they need to get out now. So Bahamian men, Bahamian women, for the sake of country, for the sake of your children and your children's children, I'm asking you to stand up. You are the bosses to these employers. employees, sorry.
Yes.
It's time for us to demand accountability.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Ben.
Thank you for your call. I appreciate that. Wow, that was extremely powerful. I'm gonna go back to this question, and that person is absolutely right. I can't even add nothing to that. I feel you 100%. Lincoln, I cannot call in. What I need to know is FTX, CFAL, IMF will all be partnering together on our carbon credits. They was announced in the House of Assembly when Brave Davis announced how much our carbon credit was worth months. This is what we're talking about. Yes, I think that that CFAL, Anthony Ferguson, etc., all of them are going to be working together, and this is how they're going to rape our carbon credits. They are pushing this new bill to the House of Assembly because Bahamians aren't really going to stand up because we don't really understand carbon credits and what it is, and half of us are just going to support our party because we believe our politicians deserve to have whatever they want. We still worship politicians in this country, and so whatever our party says, that's what we're going to do, and they believe that Bahamians won't stand up. And so they're going to push this through. And so that they're going to try to push this deal through and put a punishment clause so that if we get in, if we win the election next time, that there would be a punishment if we took it away from CFAL, FTX, or whoever it is. This is what I believe. I can't say that this is where the direction is going because now they've lost FTX. But this is what they're going to try to do. These people are going to try to rape and rob us. And I'm so glad that the Father destroyed it. The Father took the platform from under them. They're still going to continue, but I'm glad that it was destroyed. The masters out there fighting for us when we're not fighting for ourselves, when we're sitting down and letting these politicians rape and rob us and give us crumbs. And we're loving it. Oh, we're going to give a couple dollars raise to the teachers. Oh, hallelujah. You are taking crumbs when billions of dollars is being made from our natural resources and billions is going to be made from our carbon credits, and you're taking crumbs to pacify you. They said, listen, only a few people on social media, a few thousand people is going to listen to Lincoln. The rest of it, just as they said in the meeting, the rest of the Bahamian public, they ain't know what's happening. To my Bahamians. And even if they hear, they won't understand it, and they're not going to do anything because they don't understand it. That's what they're saying. Bahamas, we have a chance to transform all of our lives. Will you stand up? Good afternoon, you're live.
Good afternoon, Mr. Bean. My president, how are you doing?
I am good. How are you doing?
I'm good. This is Mona Lisa Smith.
Hey, Mona Lisa.
I am so happy that FTX has crashed.
Yes.
And see, like I said, what happened was Bananas ended up saying that they were going to sell all of their tokens, and the token name was FTT. So when people saw that, their mind quickly probably thought it was FTX. But this is how the minds become confused, people when there's corruption going on. So therefore, everybody went ahead and withdraw. So it cost the company to...
Hold on one second for me, Mona Lisa. There's something I have to explain to the Bahamian public who don't understand how trading works. The people who made the most money from trading in the history of the world, all of the big names that you know about, the Warren Buffetts, the Ray Dalio, any big name you know who made money from trading, they made money when the market went down. You can make money when the market goes up, or you can make money when the market goes down. If you say it's going to go up and it goes up, you make money. If you say it's going to go down and it goes down, you make money. They call that short selling if it goes down. And so as much money can be made. There are people out there who go out there and destroy the reputation of companies and they short sell it, meaning that they know that there's some issue in the company, and if they expose it, then the company is going to go down. This is legal. And then they make money because it went down. All right? So the same amount they would make going up, they would make going down. So people don't understand that. It is my belief that and I can't say that this is concrete, but someone intentionally crashed this to make money. Think about this theory now. And I'm coming right back to you, Mona Lisa. Think about this theory. SBF knows that company is faltering. They were trying to find a way to raise 10 or 20 billion dollars. They were out there trying to get someone to give them this money. Once you realize that you are not going to make this money, wouldn't it be better if you get with a friend or a former partner, etc., make it look like you're having some issue and crash the company, knowing that the company is going to go down? You will make money because you short sell your own company. You have some friend, family, company, whoever, short sell the company because you know that everything is going to go down. And so maybe he could have worked with his friend, son, and partner, and cause this announcement to happen, to crash it, and he makes money, knowing that this is the last final bailout, and then he goes into the sunset. Or maybe son did it on his own and realized that he could do this himself and crash the company and short sell it. Or maybe they worked together, or Sam realized and did it. If I was investigating this, that's the first place I would look. I would look to see their transaction, the conversations, the emails, to see if this company was intentionally tanked because they know it was going down. Go ahead, Mona Lisa.
Yes, and that could be true in reference to what you're saying, because a couple of weeks back, there's another company called Yield Nodes where Binance and are holding a lot of their crypto assets, also their Bitcoin, because Yield Nodes is a company that is long term. But it seems like Binance is holding a lot of these corporations that forcing you to invest and giving you these high returns. So right now they're holding a lot of it. So what Yield Nodes had to do, because I actually follow them, they had to go with another company and start sending their Bitcoin to that particular company because the withdrawal process has stopped. So maybe it could have been the same issues that was happening probably with FTX and Binance. So like you said, it's possible. Mm-hmm. But I knew for a fact that once it came to the Bahamas, I knew it was going to be a disaster, because anything that comes to Bahamas where there's politics involved and corruption, it does not last.
Listen, there's an old well-known curse where anyone who shakes hands with a leader of the PLP, they face destruction. That's well-known. In sports and business, whatever it is, they face destruction. And you could fact check that.
Wow. And it's just sad. I just hope that he realize that, hey, this man don't care for the Bahamian people.
Yes.
We have to stand up. He's traveling north, south, east, and west. It's like he's like on a leash, like he just come out of prison, and like I finally got let out from prison for 27 years, so I have to just go around the world because I don't know when this is gonna get cut short. Mm-hmm. We don't have to wait till 4 years. We can act now. I cannot take another 4 years with the CLP government. I just can't. Yeah. So Bahamians need to stand up and get them out of our house. Be prepared to stay there for at least 3 days and camp out. Yeah. And they can't flick in and come out. Okay, we can stay there for 3 days. You all have to stay there for 3 days. We have a right to assemble. We're not doing anything. That's our right. Yeah. And that's what Bahamians have to understand. We have a right. Every colonial country has a square. When I was in London, they was telling the Queen whatever they wanted to tell the Queen, and nobody got locked up. Yeah. You know, so keep up the good work, and I'll continue to pray for you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. Appreciate your call. And so, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to end this here. we need change in this country. We're going to have a deeper conversation on Tuesday. Make sure all of you are here on Tuesday. We're going to go deeper. But make sure you're here. And I guarantee you, we can take wages on it. I guarantee you the SEC or our police will not dare touch, what's his name, SBF, by Tuesday. We'll be right here talking about this again. They can let him take all the money out of this country. That plane can come back and go again with another shipment of money or whatever is going on. We don't really know what's going on. But they won't touch him. All right? Be willing to stand up. Stand with us. Stand with us. I am willing to stand in the front and take the blows because this is what I believe I was called to do. Some people says Lincoln wants to be prime minister. No, I want to be obedient. I want to do what I was born to do. And that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm going to stand up for others who can't stand up for themselves. I've been doing it from when I was in kindergarten. I was standing up for others. I've proven myself over the years, and now I'm going to stand up for my country. I'm going to make sure that every single Bahamian benefits from their natural resources, that we benefit from our carbon credits. Do not entertain any conversation from Brave Davis, them talking about what they're going to do with carbon credits, if the conversation is not that we're going to benefit from it. They're talking about paying the debt because they had to find some excuse to get all this money in and not give it to Bahamian people. So they are promoting the debt and how bad the debt is and that they're going to take this and pay off debt because they don't want to give it to you. They've never paid the debt. How is it so important now when we have a new form of income that didn't exist before, which is carbon credits? You can pay some to the debt and some to the people. If your debt is $12 billion years now, and your GDP is $12 billion, when you increase your GDP to $24 billion, your debt is now minuscule. It's now only 50% of your GDP. When you increase your GDP to $36 billion, it's now just 1/3. When you increase it to 48 billion, which you can do with the carbon credits and the natural resources, etc., it's now just 1/4 of your GDP. Is nothing. So without paying the debt now becomes irrelevant. Countries like America and other major countries don't necessarily pay down on the debt. Country debt is not the same as personal debt unless your GDP is so bad and your country is not making anything. We need to not worry about the debt so much as increasing our income. Our country is not making income. All they're doing is finding ways to tax us and take it from us. That ain't gonna work. We have so much. That is 12 billion. That's nothing. There are countries that owe trillions in debt. Jesus. We want to transform this nation. We will transform this nation into a nation that is not dependent on taxes and taxing the people to a nation that benefits from its natural resources. Every country that has done that has transformed the entire nation. From the fictional Wakanda to the real United Arab Emirates, Qatar, Dubai, Kuwait, Bahrain, Norway. Every country that has empowered their people has transformed their nation. They've gone from third world to first world. I am ready to go to first world. We can do this. All we need is willing people. We don't need people like Anthony Ferguson now with the coat suits. They just trying to make money. They looking out for them. Don't mind their talks. They're not looking out for the country because if they did, they would make you benefit. Because the more money you have, the more transaction you'll have in the Bahamas and the more taxes the government will collect. Empowering you empowers the government. That makes a sure form of revenue for the government. If everyone is poor, you can't tax them. They're not going to spend money. But by empowering their people, Qatar made their whole government better. Because their people will spend money. Their people will do building projects. Their people will open businesses that will pay taxes, etc. They will import stuff. Empowering the people is the way to take your government to a developed nation, not taxing the people. We gotta transform this. We gotta change our thinking. This is our last chance, y'all. They're trying to give this away. We gotta fight for this. Y'all stand with me. I'm Lincoln Bain. I'm an organic Bahamian. I believe in this Bahamas. I'm loyal to no other nation. I'm loyal to this nation that is here to be an upliftment and empowerment to the world. The world is going to know our name. We are going to be the tourism mecca again, but we're going to benefit from our tourism. We are going to have cruise ships. We're going to build the hotels. We're going to build the attractions. We are going to have a great nation. We're going to be greater than Dubai, greater than the United Arab Emirates. We're going to transform this. Spread the message. Spread the word. If people don't understand, send them the lives. Let them ask the questions. Bring them. Dare them to be here. Stand with them. Watch it with them. And tell them, call in with their question. If they don't believe that all of us can benefit, get a check from our natural resources, tell them come. We have the numbers. Tell them go on our website. We can transform this nation. We will transform this nation. Thank you all for tuning in. Remember, we're having a cookout. Please support the movement. We're having a cookout. You can come to the headquarters this week, or you can call and you can get your tickets. All right, come and get your tickets. Also, for those who want to assist, 802-5995, send me a text if you want to assist with the Sanctuary for Women. With the Sanctuary for Women. If you want to assist with that in any way, you want to contribute financially, you have some furniture that we could redo, some sofas, etc. We are going to need refrigerators. We're going to need stoves, microwaves, etc. Whatever you want to donate, you can do that. All right, but we're going to create a safe sanctuary for women going through in this country. It's going to be temporary shelters for women who are going through, and it's going to be free of charge to them. The reason this is so powerful for me is because when my son was injured in the United States of America, I had to go over there from the Bahamas, and I was in the hotel and staying in the hospital 24/7. I had to have a hotel to have somewhere to go and shower. And the nurse said, "You don't have to be paying all this money for a hotel." She said, "There's something called a Ronald McDonald House, and for persons who are out of town with their kids, etc., you can stay in the Ronald McDonald House. They provide food, they provide housing. You don't have to worry about anything." It was such a relief. It blew my mind, that experience. I had money at the time. I had a lot of money. So I could have afforded to pay for the hotel, but just not having to deal with that. Going to a place where your food was there every single day, 3 meals a day, whether you eat it or not, snacks, everything was there. That blew my mind. That transformed me. And that's why every time I go to America and I see on the desk they have Ronald McDonald House, I give to that. I'm encouraging all of you to give. That is real. That is one charity that is real. All of that goes to helping persons in those situations. Other Bahamians have benefited from it also. So it's the Ronald McDonald House. And when I experienced that, everything is there that you need. You don't have to buy nothing. Washing machine there, they won't wash your clothes, but all of whatever you wash your clothes with is there. Your Downy, your Tide, whatever you wash your clothes with, everything is there. And they take care of you. And so experiencing that blew my mind. And I want to take some of the pressure off women who are going through. Help me. The same with politics. It's Bahamians, man. Hurting. We keep hearing the stories of people parking their cars on the beach, parking their cars in the police station yard. Let's take them children out of the rain. They got to screw down the glass because they can't run the car all night. They're getting eat up from mosquitoes in their cars. And then if it rains, they're in the hot car, suffering. Let's do something for them. Let's do something. All right. So I believe in a new Bahamas. We're gonna have our new Bahamas. Thank you all so much for your support. We appreciate you. Prepare for the attacks against me this week. But I was built for this. There's nothing they can say to me that's going to move me. I fear God, not man. I don't care anything man has to say about me. I care about what God has to say to me. I don't look for applause from man. I don't care when man claps. I care when God claps. Men don't move me. And so I was sent to pick up my rock and my slingshot and fling it at Goliath. So I spent the last 2 hours with my rock and my slingshot, flinging it at Goliath. And Goliath is going to fall because he's an uncircumcised Philistine. And he does not deserve to walk on this here Bahamas. He does not deserve to lead this here Bahamas. And we're going to cut off their necks and feed them to the birds. As David said, it's time for change. It's time for new Bahamas. Ladies and gentlemen, change is not coming. Change is here. Stand with us as we stand for the Bahamian people. Change ain't coming. Change is here. I leave you with your party and prime minister and a word that's going to transform your thinking.
You know, a lot of people wonder how Dubai became a very big, famous, and rich city.
You see, if you're comparing with Nigeria, listen to this. Nigeria has oil before than Dubai. It's a history. They are more rich than us. They have agriculture, they have mining, they have everything. You name it, they have it. Am I right or wrong? When you have a true leadership, which we have nothing, but we have everything because we have the right leadership. That's the only thing you need, a right leader for your country, not corruption. That's what brings your country at the top. You don't need anything. We want water, we don't have agriculture, we don't have mining.
That's quite interesting.
And that's Sheikh Mohammed. Number one, he doesn't know number two, he needs only number one. He says, I don't know, there's no number two in my book. Only number one.
I hear he doesn't ride in a convoy.
I don't know how you did this in 50 years. You look at history. Who does this? Show me anybody else that has done this in 50 years. I'm waiting. Show them to me. This wasn't done by money. Money doesn't produce visions. Visions produce money. You've had leadership over here that were visionaries, great visionaries, and their vision was more about the people than the money, because you can't accomplish this in 50 years without loving your people first, because the people are the ones that's benefiting from this. Look at your health care, look at your road system, look at your highway system, look at your airports. Who does this in 50 years? But who benefits? You're going to care about those people. It's something to be learned about what's been done over here that could be duplicated in the world, because there's people with this much money. You just don't have people with this much love for their people.